Okay, we are back. We are back. So, sorry about the delay. We've got a couple of guys following. Thanks for that. Thanks, Ilkaso, for being awesome and answering lots of questions. That's really cool. Appreciate that. Okay, well, I've been gone. Right, where were we? So, just make sure it's all set up. Yes, I was just trying to find out where that code was. There it is. I knew there was somewhere. Right. It's something like this I need to do. Yes, something like this. So in the history, okay, I'm going to have to read the chat now. So much interesting stuff going on. Right. IKLSR. Got it. Thanks. Cool. That's interesting. Thanks for that. Okay, so for those of you who have just joined, what I'm up to is trying to set up SolTrader so that the history generator does a whole bunch of interesting cool stuff, and I want it to actually be practically working in the game. So the problem that I have is that at the moment, the game generates a whole bunch of interesting jobs and vacancies, and different humans are generated and have lived their lives inside the history generator, and they take all the job that they want, that they're most suited to, and that kind of thing. However, the problem is that this is not practical because some jobs are absolutely essential. For example, the space traffic controller. If you don't have a space traffic controller, you can't land at a planet. So what I'm currently doing is setting it up so that certain essential jobs are being filled. Right now, the error that I've got is that you may have an essential job, in which case you are skipped from the filling essential vacancies. However, your spouse is not exempted, and if your spouse moves, you move too, which means that, how do I find the spouse? Oh, it comes from here. Fill available jobs, where's that used? If your spouse exists and they move, you move with them, even if you're doing an essential job. So basically you have to just set it up so that they're not. Right, spouse, so, right, let's just check. So if we get to this point, we need a human spouse equals state, history, and we're in the history, relationship target, this human, spouse. Right, so that's the spouse. If there's a spouse, and the spouse has a stage, and the spouse's stage no, if the spouse's stage is an essential job, then you are excused. Perfect. Should still work. Brilliant. Fabulous. Wonderful. Okay, so once this is done, hopefully, when I create a new world, I'm going to create quite a restricted world to start with, so that we end up with seeing this in action. At the moment, I've almost got it all working, but I just need to figure out a couple of other things. Yeah, Pygame is a really good option. Python, I'm not sure what Python is in terms of developing any kind of Python app. I like Python. I'm a Ruby guy more than a Python guy, to be honest, but I do like Python. Having said that, I've been looking at Unity recently for making games, JavaScript also for making games, rather than C++. I think my next game is probably not going to be a C++ game. I think unless I reuse this engine, which I may well do, it probably makes sense to do it. It depends how successful this game is, really. But if I don't reuse this engine, then it will be then it'll probably be a JavaScript game, I would have thought, something like that. Now you can pretty much run JavaScript everywhere. It's probably the way forward. Okay, so the next thing is to create a new history. We're going to start with just 5 people in each city, which means that we'll definitely have to be doing some filling in. I'm actually going to just generate myself as being very young to start with. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to choose this family, step forward a couple of years. Right, start game. Let's see if that worked. Yes, it did. Fantastic. So now if you look at the code here, you can see that, oh, I haven't, something crashed, but I'll figure that out in a minute. We've got Martha Duffin, Jeff Bagwell, Bessie Randall, Nathan Gamble, and Eldridge Hale filled in the various different space traffic controller jobs that were available that weren't filled, which is excellent. And now when I initialized all of the AI down to here, it all worked. However, we had some failure that wasn't clear, so there must be a problem report somewhere. Is this the right one? No, it's not. It's an old one. Let's try that again. Yeah, HTML Canvas, really good, plus Node WebKit. Yeah, exactly right. So that's where I think I'm going. The only thing, I'm not sure about how well that works on mobile at the moment. So mobile is obviously an interesting target, so I don't know whether or not that's going to work. So to see how it goes, to be honest. Okay, let's start a new one. No, that's not long enough. 2 years old. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think Java's the other option, but I just don't like building Java, if I'm honest. I think I'm much more likely to want to... I need to try again. There we go. Choose. Start game. Okay, what's the crash? What's the error? Boom. Right. Updating. Oh. That isn't clear. Should have run it in the debugger, shouldn't I? That would have been better. Yeah, thanks for the links as well. That's cool. Appreciate that. Okay, let's try this. Create new history. 5, 2. Cool. Boom. Right. Cannot find behavior. Control space traffic. Did that come up before? No. Interesting. Right. So the issue is that we've got a bunch of space traffic controllers now set up to... that's worked fine, actually. That's brilliant. Space traffic controllers are all set up. They're all working because they've taken those essential jobs. That's a really useful piece of work to have done, because now anything that I really need AI to be working for, I can sort of shunt people over to. Yes, that's a fine change. That change is also fine. Right. Okay, and then we basically just want to say, actually fill those essential vacancies on game start. Right, brilliant. Oops. I didn't really mean that. What I meant was that. Okay. So now I'm doing that. We now have the problem of no AI. So the issue is that, where were we? We cannot find the behavior control space traffic. The way that this works is that, let me take you through how this works. Now we have a guaranteed space traffic controller. What we do for these people is we create a new actor for them, which is basically the AI for a human, and we give them a goal. The goal is to have controlled space traffic. The way that this works is that the planning code, let's see, where is the planner? Here. Takes that goal and works out what behavior to run based on that, and the answer is to run control space traffic. So basically we have a planning system, rather like FEAR or something like that. That's how the AI chooses what to do. Once it's chosen what little piece of work to do, there are behaviors, which is a behavior tree system, which is basically like a state machine, to actually get them to do the right thing, or the thing we want to do. It's quite a sophisticated system and it works pretty well. And I've homegrown it, it's written entirely by me. The control space traffic is a behavior that we don't have yet. So I need to write it. So control space traffic, what is that actually going to do? Do we actually want a behavior called control space traffic, or can we construct it from different behaviors? Basically what we want to do is wait, and we're waiting for messages. We're waiting for something to happen. So I'm not sure I actually want this to be a behavior. What else do we do? Yeah, that one isn't the right one. This is the current waiting behavior here that we have. So we could just do, we could say we're waiting. When a message is hailed to these people, we basically just want to block. So basically what we want to do is have a selector. Where's some children? Okay, so if you're familiar with behavior trees, you'll know how this works. But basically what I'm doing is I'm just checking a yeah, exactly. Right, so message fire. So basically, I'm going to need to do something like this. That one. So once we've heard that message, I want to do something. But if not, I basically just want to loop. Just remember how to do this, really. This is probably a sequence. So when we've heard that message, actually that throttle is probably still appropriate. So if I just bump that over there. Right, so basically we want to delay probably how many game minutes? It's 10 minutes for 24 hours at the moment, so we don't want people to be waiting too long, so I think we'll check every 5 game minutes as to whether or not someone's heard a message. If this fails, then we'll just quit out again. I need to think about how to do this. I can never remember how to do sequences and selectors. We could use keep running until pass. Okay, so a selector will fail if the first child passes, it goes on to the next one. So what this means, this will say, okay, if we heard a message, we need to message. Something like this. I haven't got this actually yet, but it will exist. Fine. And we actually probably want this to decorate this particular thing, so otherwise it won't know who the message was sent by, but it's got to be whoever this comes back from. Yeah, something like that will work. So if we hear a message, then we reply to sender, readership token granted. If we don't hear a message, do we want that to block until pass? We want this to throttle a little bit. So what I could simply do is add a throttle, which then contains the heard message, something like this. Right, so that means that every 5 minutes we will check to see if we've heard a message, and then we'll reply to sender. Yes, that's fine. And this could potentially fail if we haven't, and pass if we have. Now we've got various keep running things, keep running until pass, for example, which we use. We also have a couple of others, keep and data, keep running whilst on different planet, keep running until pass. I actually want this one to just keep running. It's kind of like a run forever. But actually it doesn't matter if it leaves the plan, because if it leaves the plan, then it'll just go back to trying to do it again, which isn't the end of the world. That's okay. So what heard message does is it, let's think about this. IKLSR, you better document it properly on the game wiki. Yeah, I think this game isn't going to be open source, but I could certainly talk about it from a modding point of view. Is that kind of what you meant? Good to know if that's what you mean. So let's go for getting these written. So basically what's happening here is when we control the space traffic, first we wait for 5 minutes. Then we check to see whether we've heard a message. If we have heard a message, then we will run the child, which is reply to sender. If we haven't heard a message, then we don't. So we just fail. Now, when we fail, it'll go back into trying to figure out what the next goal is. And that's fine. I'm very happy about that because it will come back and do the planning again and then decide to control more space traffic. So the question is they could be waiting up to 5 minutes for their docking. We'll just have to see if that's the right number. I'm not sure if that's right. So the things we don't have now are heard message and reply to sender. Now, that will very much depend. Let's just make sure I haven't got too much checked out. Get DI stat. No, that's fine. I think the thing to do next would be I think the thing to figure out how the current radio messages are sent. I think they're done using location events. So this game is about 3 years old. I've been building it for about 3 years, and so a lot of the code is actually quite old now. Right, so what happens is if we have a location event, okay, when does that get called? Okay, so if there's a location event signal, the state handles the location event. Why does it do that? Because it wants to record the radio messages. And the reason we do that is so we can draw them. Okay. Radio message itself is quite simple. It's got a sender and a message and a life. Okay. Now, location events are probably a bit more interesting then. Location event, let's have a look at that. Event, that's it, right. This is the location event. Ooh, story roll, what the heck is that? So, this is quite complicated. Right, so an event happens in a particular radius and position. Okay, so let's see where one of these might be used. Oh, in lots of places. Right, so travel actions. Send ship radio message. Yes, that's right. So that's the prepare to die message or whatever. And that's quite simple. That just sends the message to the event. The difference is that that is sent, that's not sent to a particular person. But it could be because we could just add a new role for that event. Now, presumably those are saved. So how is that saved? Are they not saved? Oh, no, maybe not, because if maybe they are just sent. And they have a react to, yes, that's right. So when they're sent, they're reacted to immediately. So actors react to them, by checking to see whether or not the event is a ship attack. If the sender is not me, I add the last, I see, I add the last message. Oh, nice. Thanks, IKLSR. Well, I'm very glad you are going on holiday. Have a brilliant holiday. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for that, appreciate it. So yeah, I'll be around for a little while. I'm doing a Kickstarter in the new year for this game, just trying to get it over the last little bit of time. So that's my plan for the new year. But yeah, really appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for joining in and being so helpful, and maybe I'll see you pretty soon. I'm pretty sure you followed me, didn't you? So you'll get notifications. I do plan on doing what you said and updating the stream with all of that info so that people can see what I'm up to. So yeah, thanks very much. Cool. Have a great holiday. Okay, so let's see. So this radio message gets saved as the last message. When is last message used? Why is that? We don't use it anywhere. Why don't we use it? We just don't use it. We don't use it. I do not know why we do not use it. Why do we not use it? What's the point of having it? Anyway, so we could broadcast a location event. Location events are really flexible. That's quite nice because we can just, wrong thing. It just is a role, has roles and values. A story role, oh, it was what everyone is, so right, so a story role is like could be in a thing, so interesting. So where is story role used? I've searched for this recently, but I can't remember. Right, so humans and ships are both story roles, but there's nothing to stop you making an operation a story role, so we could hail something. Okay, so hailing oh, interesting. It's not really a location event because you're just sending. Really thinking hard about this. It's not really a location event because you're just, all you're doing is you're sending the I'm sorry, I'm just thinking this through. What you want to do when you hail someone, you want to actually send it to them. But when you're hailing a space station, I'm just trying to figure out how to write this heard message AI. How do we know whether or not we've heard the message? Is it that at the moment we receive the last message sent to our location? Now, interestingly, the location of this particular human is going to be the city. But I don't want to send it there. I'm actually sending it to the operation, the spaceport. Interesting. Okay, so for the moment, I'm just dealing with the city. That's where the human is. So if I send it to the city, that's easy enough to figure out. If I send it to the city, then the actor will react to it and it'll be their last message. Assuming that they heard it. That means they may not hear it. God, this is difficult. Difficult. I'm going to need to store the states somewhere because we're not necessarily going to respond immediately. In fact, it might be a random time up to 5 minutes before we actually end up responding. So we are going to have to save it. Now, realistically, if 2 messages come in that time, we can't just save the last one. We're going to need to save a queue, basically, of messages that have been sent to us. We're going to need to do that anyway. Depending on what we do, we're going to have to do that anyway. We are going to have to do that anyway. Because at the moment, when we react to a message, all we do is we save the last one. That's not sufficient for for being a space traffic controller, you're going to need more messages than that. Because if two people radio in at once, you're going to need to be able to figure that out. So actually we want a queue of messages and then have these location events, these radio messages, saved onto a message queue. I don't even use last message, so I don't even know why I'm saving this here, because the only other place we use it is space location game state, which reacts. This has location events as well here, and it just records it so that I can see it. That's pretty straightforward. All that does is it, yeah. All that does is it just displays it on the GUI. So that's not interesting. This one, however, is interesting. Right, so what I'm going to do is memory exist messages. Forget that. Let's search for last message again. And I'm going to save them as a queue. Of radio messages inside my memory as an actor. Memory is a bit complicated, it's a property map, which it's okay. It's basically a bunch of stuff that could exist in there. So basically I want to say, I want to actually iterate through all of the messages in my memory and delete them if it's a radio message. Or I can completely remove this last message rubbish. I don't even really like having this thing in my memory. It's very icky, to be honest. That's gone. Oops. That's gone. And that can go, and that can go, right. So if the sender is not me, I'll save that. It's not going to work because that's unused, yeah. Okay, great. So we have a new radio message, but I'm just going to stiff it on an array in the actor. What is radio message anyway? Is it a plain old object? Is it a reference? Oh, I'd love to be able to do. Do something like that. So create a little array of these things. Unfortunately, there's no default constructor. Why do I need to say reference? I have to say pointer. I must initialize the reference. Oh, screw it. I'm going to fix radio message. We use a pointer though. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to save. Have I checked in? Yeah, I checked in recently. Okay, I'm going to save these particular radio messages. I'm going to create my memory for my actor. Now, how can I batch this? Is there a better way of batching this rather than saving these per actor? Could I save them for all actors in that location? Not really. I'm going to save it per actor. It's better than bouncing around memory anymore, though. I really want them embedded in my actor rather than allocating them. Sorry, I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to embed them so there's not another memory bounce. Okay, which means that radio message cannot use sender. It needs to be a pointer. Okay, so that's now a pointer. sender. That's just saved. Human content center will just return the dereference pointer. Display message boost function, radio messages function to list. Oof. Where is this used? How the heck is this used? Space location games that has a list of them. Yeah, I'm not convinced that's a good idea. Basically, this is bogus. Right, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to re-implement radio messages completely. Call me stupid if you want, but I think this is the right thing. I just have it bouncing around memory all over the place for these things. Okay, so we've got life, we've got record, we've got update, fine. So radio message, we're going to have a bunch of them. We're going to do static, no, define max radio messages 10. And we're going to need an int current message. We'll see why in a minute. And I guess we're going to need int size. Right. Okay. Right, that's fine, and that's fine. They just need to be pointers. Whoops. That's fine. That doesn't need to happen. Hooray. Get rid of that. No allocating memory. Stuff a message life in there. Right, what's the point here? The point is that we erase these things. Yeah, that's just wrong. Okay. What I actually want to happen is that for I equals current message, I is less than next new message. Yeah, I don't. What I was thinking of doing is doing some sort of round robin thing, but I'm not convinced about that now. It's just a bit hard. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is size. Don't need that. Size. Right. I++. Forget that. If messages I dot life is greater than life, func message. That's fine. That'll do. And this one is easy enough. Just need to do. Don't need to delete anything. Just when I record, all I need to do is just say messages size equals message. Size ++ life plus equal 5,000. Okay. Oh, not ++ though. Size ++. Right. So now when we record one, all we do is we just assign it. Pretty simple, really. And then we add the life. So that when the life goes DT, we just do that. Perfect. No deleting. See, none of that's really necessary. Just make it a struct. Yeah, we can keep those. That's fine. Right, so now I've reworked this thing to be much simpler, this radio messages thing. Much happy with that. The only thing we don't have is max messages. That's going to be max radio messages. Constructor must initialize radio message, which does not have a default constructor, which should have. Get rid of that one. Yeah, I'll just get rid of the constructors, don't really need them. It's just a struct. Is this compiling? No, that's because we don't need those anymore. That I will need, so I'll just comment that out for a minute. What kind of game are you making? I am making a space trading game. If you look on the sidebar, it tells you a little bit about it. I haven't, the moment, I haven't given some context for a while. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm trying to do air traffic control or space traffic control for spaceships landing on planets. I'm trying to improve it so that when spaceships land, it's like they're landing on cities, or actually in space docks inside cities. That's what I'm planning on doing. Radio messages. Again, I kind of want that to be in line in memory. So I'm just going to add radio message here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting ready to send messages, radio messages around the game. So I'm kind of improving the way that my radio message code looked before. Hopefully work. Yes, right. So this will probably not work. I don't know, it won't work. Right, user identified max radio messages. Yeah, no, that's not what I want. That should just be radio messages. That's cool, that worked. So yeah, the idea is that you will be able to radio air traffic control and ask them to, don't need to do that, to do what you want them to do, basically. That can just be that. Right. Sorry, just screwing around with C++ now. There's quite a lot of this kind of thing. I think that's going to end up being a string. Which means I need to do C string. This needs to be A to I. And this needs to be PB radio message. That is the ugliest piece of code ever, but it will work. Okay. Missed bracket. Right, any other errors that I've missed? Probably, yes, there are. Right. No, that's not a pointer. No member name sender. That's what I want. No member. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That one works. This one doesn't. Member name life. Did you mean life? Probably. To be honest, that's kind of annoying, so I'm just going to No, I did not mean that. Okay, so that should fix up radio messages at least to the point at which I'm happy roughly with that implementation. Once I've fixed up radio messages, I can start thinking about how to send a radio message from your ship down to the control tower. We've created the AI, we've added, we haven't got the AI behaviors yet, but we've added the framework for the AI to actually listen to those messages, but we haven't actually worked out how the messages are actually going to be transported yet. So that's what I'm working on right now. Sorry, message. Why are we even doing that? We don't even need to. What I actually need to do is recent radio messages record. It's the same problem again as I've got before. This will be sender is blah, address of sender, and this one will be that. There's probably a better API there, but that'll do. So now an actor also records a set of radio messages. It has sort of 5 of them or 10 of them, and then it can respond to them as it needs to. So every time I think it'll take the most recent one probably and just pop it off the stack until it's got down to 0. Radio message is obviously used everywhere, so it's going to take a little while to build. So this is a great time to answer questions. It's 5 o'clock, so I'll be stopping pretty soon, but I'm very happy to keep answering questions as people want to ask them. That is always fine. Okay, errors. No matching instructor. Oh yeah, okay, so what's this? Ah, in the game loader. So, okay, so we've taken out the code completely for loading messages. That's really good. So that means we don't need to load or save radio messages like we did before. Yeah, I'm sorry about the quality of the stream. It is very variable today. My net connection is just a little bit poor. It tends to come in and out. I've got the frame rate turned right down, but for some reason it's just not playing nicely, and I'm sorry about that. So hopefully you're still able to follow along a little bit. So removing messages really helps from the weird saving and loading mechanism. It does, however, mean, actually, having said that, I'm still going to need to do some of this, but just not here. I'm going to need to load the messages. So loaded radio message. So this is the actor proto. I'm making a cross between Elite and Asteroids. This is AI.proto. This game's 3 years in the making. I've been building it for quite a while now. Okay, I'm going to need to do repeated radio messages. This is going to invalidate all my saves. Never mind. Load. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure this out. Radio I. Radio human ID. Load message human, that just needs to be the pointer. Loaded radio message message. That's just radio message. Loaded radio message life. Again, that's just radio life. Don't need to do that. But what I do need to do is say actor radio messages record. Same problem here I've got actually. Depending on how this is done. The one I want is none of those. Radio proto. That's the enum. Oh, I've got this wrong. This is the wrong place. actor has got pairs of memory, so this doesn't exist. It's now that repeated. I'm just setting up the persistence. What I'm doing right now is figuring out the persistence for radio messages. Repeated message equals 8. Right, so radio message. Okay, so now we're creating new radio messages. That's great. Is the message correct? Yes, it is. Perfect. Okay, so that's loading them correctly. Hopefully. Saves correctly. It won't save correctly. No, it didn't think so. It's because that doesn't exist yet. But when I save them, I still need to do something else. Save actor, here we are. That saves the memory, so let's save them here. Right, so I need now to save my radio messages. And I do that through for each message. So I should be able to do I just need to do for each message. All I'm doing is now saving those radio messages on the actor. So the actor is recording a set of radio messages that they have so that they can then respond to them. So this is for air traffic control. So we can say, hey, I need to land, for example. So this is probably how the conversations will end up working. I'll probably end up renaming radio messages to message or something similar. But I do need to save and load the buffer of messages in the actor, so that's important. So actor radio messages for each message, and then I'm going to need to pass in a, what is a radio message func? I have no idea. It's one of those. It's a method which is use bind save radio message. I'm going to need to create a new type of thing. Unfortunately, radio message saver. I need to pass the actor saver. Struct radio message saver. Actor. And that's going to be equals actor. So all I'm doing is updating the save code for this thing. It should be reasonably easy to do. Okay, so this should now be called for each message. Now all I need to do is I need to say add message equals actor add radio message. This is all just serialization. Just need to save this radio message, save message equals set message. What do I need to do? Let's just check. Human ID, long actor human, and then, oh no, that's the message sender. That was wrong. Set the message to the message, and set the life to the life. That's probably it. Yeah, that's probably it. That's just a PP radio message, so that will work. Okay, so save all of that. Okay, where are we up to? Undefined no method to add radio message. Why not? That's how you do it, isn't it? Add actor, add memory. Where's my actor? Radio message. So adding a radio message should be something that you should. I don't need the actor. I need the PB actor. The wrong thing. Okay. Right, unfortunately this thing is not constant. So this for each message thing. But it could be. There's no reason it can't be because everything's constant in it anyway. Can't do anything to it that's not constant. If you like the stream, please do hit the follow button. Your name will appear in lights, which may or may not be useful. Well, it might be fun. When I say your name will appear in lights, what I actually mean is your name will appear on the newest follower list on the left-hand side. That's pretty much it. Sorry, that's all you get. This is a great time to ask me questions as we're compiling. I do actually need to know, I do actually need to go reasonably soon now, probably the next minute or two, because it's time to go and have some tea. It's 5 o'clock. I need to go and spend some time with my kids. But thanks very much for watching. Do follow me on Twitch or check out the game. I'm starting a Kickstarter pretty soon, so that would be quite interesting. So yeah, there's lots going on in the world of Soul Trader. It's been a long time coming, but we're finally coming to a head and we're finally coming to the end of the game. And so this may be a great time to kind of get stuck in and get involved and join the community. So yeah, please do follow me on Twitch, and that would be a great first step. Follow me on Twitter perhaps, which is SoulTDR on Twitter. And yeah, any other questions you have, do free to ask me on Twitter or something like that. And I will see you all very soon. Thanks very much for watching.